to another CHP Paranormal Investigation. We're at what they've been calling on YouTube the Church of Secrets. From what we gather, this church used to be an African Methodist Apostolic Church.
Episcopal
Church, my bad. To me, it looks like it got used also because it's attached to a cemetery out here, and I would say that they used it also to hold services for funerals and what have you. And my mistake. When it's attached to a church, it's called a graveyard. When it's not attached to a church, then they're called cemeteries. So let's get that correct. My first initial walkthrough, when I cleared the place to see if there was any squatters or anything here, I'm not seeing any signs of any kind of rituals being done here, any kind of like foul play. We're still seeing instruments. I mean, you tell that piano ain't been used in a while. I mean, you still got drum equipment, tambourines.
There's still Bibles and books in the pews.
Yeah, and there's a box of tissues up here. That's why I got the idea that it was probably being used for funerals. I mean, the floor is squishy, pretty dirty in here.
The calendar on the walls from 2008.
Yes. I mean, okay, that doesn't sound promising. This is where the choir used to sit back here. This is the bathroom. The bathroom back here.
I don't see any switches, so I was going to try to test to see if there's any electricity running to the building, but I haven't seen any switches to be able to test that theory, to be honest.
I think there's a on the wall right there. Oh, there's a switch right there.
Oh.
No, that's not a switch.
And
I was checked. Sorry.
we would like to thank our friends with Spectral Researchers of Central Florida for tipping us off to this location. They have been here once. They said they got EVPs, some activity on the eddy. They got figures on their SLS camera. That's a breaker box.
Yeah, I'm just
And
none of breakers.
but nothing menacing that they felt or got while here. So
I mean, my biggest guess is the reason why you'd probably get any activity here is due to the cemetery or the graveyard next to it.
I would probably agree with that.
You know,
Churches themselves, you know, unless they've been used for other purposes after they've been abandoned, and funerals would be the only reason I would say to get activity inside of a church. Otherwise, it's just a building like any other.
yeah.
While it was once a place of worship, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get anything paranormal. I definitely agree with the graveyard theory.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I got a feeling like at once upon a time, this was used as the African American Methodist, like the St. Paul A&M stands for.
St. Paul AME, African Methodist Episcopal.
Yeah.
Episcopal.
Episcopal. I believe it was used as that at one point in time. Then it was probably transferred over, and they just kept the name because it was an easy landmark to keep going for people who needed to know where the church was that a funeral was being held at. That's just my theory. I mean, If I'm wrong about it, please don't crucify me. If you do know about this church and the history of this church, I'm just taking an educated guess because there's really not any. There's no history to be found on this church about any kind of foul play being done here.
I really honestly, when I looked it up, I couldn't find much. I found the church, the organization, but not this particular location.
Yeah. But we will go ahead and pull out the necrophonic. And I know that there's a lot of you guys out there, I've said this before many times, that are opposed to apps on the phone. But we have gotten very intelligent responses from the necrophonic app and the different phone apps that we use, which brings me to my next theory, and pretty much been kind of proven of a theory, is anything you use to communicate with spirits or anything, we're opening up doorways. Like Milton Bradley for years tried to tell people that their Ouija board was just a toy. Just a toy. But there's been more hauntings caused by, personal home hauntings caused by a Milton Bradley Ouija board, which was just a game, mind you. So with that being said, I do trust the app a little bit more than a lot of other stuff. I like my spirit box, but sometimes it's really hard to discern what's being said off of it. That's why I do prefer the necrophonic over it. Now, if we seem like we're getting a lot of chatter and a lot of intelligent responses, I will switch over to the SB7. So, but we will go with the necrophonic app first. So, let's switch over. All right. If there's any spirits here, you can use this device that's in my hand to communicate with us, and let us know. Are you here because you're buried in the graveyard next door, or why are you here? All right, are you here because you're buried in the graveyard? Are you here because of foul play?
Sounded like covered me.
Sound like what? I can't hear you when you talk.
Said it sounded like covered me,
Covered you?
but like somebody being buried, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Chad here.
All right.
Interesting.
Were you the spirit that showed yourself to our friends Debbie and Robert when they came? Did it sound like footsteps coming up?
It totally sounded like footsteps outside, yes.
It totally sounded like footsteps walking up to the door.
It really did.
You go check real quick.
That's why I kind of wanted to face the other way. I didn't think having our lights facing out the front windows was a good idea. I completely heard it. There were footsteps in front of the door.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll face back this way so that what I have.
And there is going to be background noise, folks. We are right by a main road.
All right. Was that spiritual footprints foot patterns that we heard by the door, or was that an actual person?
Spirit.
Was there foul play done to anybody in this church?
Like what?
Were you guys harassed racially due to the fact this is an African American congregation?
And mind you, just because it's African Methodist does not mean it was a solely African American congregation. Considering the calendar, it
Well,
would have been.
That's where my theory says that after a while it's got stopped being used as,
Okay.
and then got just used as a place to hold the wakes for the funerals.
Now, what I did find is there's still branches of this church all over. The closest one I saw was in Leesburg.
Yeah, we're not too far from Leesburg right now. Did any of y'all come here to enjoy Sunday worship? No.
Is this where you came and your family came to mourn your loss? No.
Do you just come to this because it's the closest building that's not occupied by people?
Yep.
Do you not like it when people show up here? Do you not like being recognized?
That was like a full sentence.
Yeah.
I totally. Guys, if you understood what that said, please drop it in the comments because that was a full sentence. Do you not like that he's behind the pulpit? What was that?
Oh no.
No, that's what it said. What was that?
Has anybody come in here and done any kind of unholy rituals and practices?
I don't think so. It doesn't feel that way to me.
Doesn't either, but it didn't hurt to ask.
No. What's the Bible open to? Out of curiosity.
It's 2 Peter chapter 2 and 3. God's mercy in day of judgment and exploitation by false teachers.
Dude. Yeah.
That's what it was.
No, I was just wondering what it was open to still. I mean, what is this program? January 1st, 2006.
Okay. Well,
Okay, so a communion service. Communion.
did you used to take communion?
Did you take communion in this church? Maybe. I heard maybe.
Why this church closed down?
They may not know. Did the people that ran this church move to a bigger building? There's just so many responses. It's very garbled.
It is. Well, I thank you for communicating with us. I'm going to go ahead and end the communication. You may not attach to any of my equipment or to me or my wife. You have to stay here. You do not have our permission to come with us.
I don't feel anything heavy. I don't sense anything out of place. I think it just either the building got too small or they just couldn't afford the overhead to continue running a church. Maybe the congregation got too old, too small. Honestly, a lot of reasons churches don't continue to stay open. But I don't feel anything off or wrong here, you know what I mean? Maybe like a little Sunday school room there. Oh, okay, no, we're outside now.
Another bathroom.
Like, are we connected to the graveyard, or is it just happened to be very close?
Come on down here. Come down here and pull that door.
I mean, obviously they've tried to. Somebody busted the knob on this door. Okay.
Okay. I'll make sure it's safe to walk down this.
How's the integrity of that wood? Yeah, no.
Now you'll be able to just step over here. I got you.
Nope.
There's no way down over that way.
Sure is.
Okay.
Sorry, that jump was safer than that platform. Sorry guys, we're just trying to explore to see how close we actually are to this cemetery. It's like really... Because it's possible a lot of the response we get are from spirits from the cemetery. And this road, like this is a...
road that leads to
Yeah. I see. I wonder if there was a connection to the actual church, if proximity just happened to be a bonus. I don't know. Bonus.
It's you, Jingle.
I know. Oh yeah, I got the bag on. Sorry. So I wonder if proximity is a thing, or if this was because of the church, or I don't know. Some of these headstones look fairly old, and somebody still keeps up the grounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not that old. That's really not that old.
Oh, really? I mean, you got...
And somebody still keeps up these grounds.
Well, I mean, look, you got some of the newer buildings over here. 2001, 2007.
So...
2018.
It is very, very possible, like you said, this church was at one point used for funeral services. I think proximity to the graveyard or cemetery is more coincidence than purposeful, because there is another church right up the road.
Yeah. Alright, any of the spirits out here in the cemetery or the graveyard would like to communicate with us, feel free to. I got this device and that's going to allow you to talk to us. And once again, everybody, we apologize for that.
Yeah, we're right by Main Road. We're in a residential area. There are dogs running free, so
Are these the same spirits that were over in the tiny church?
there's so much going on in the background. I'm afraid anything we get would be
Yeah.
corrupted.
Alright, well, I'm gonna turn this off because it's hard to hear you over the cars driving by.
We apologize, guys. It just. Thank you for attempting to communicate with us. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
I would love to investigate further. There's so much background. Any evidence we get would be totally corrupted.
Yeah. So, how much time do we got left on this one?
I already had to start a new clip.
Alright. And how far into the new clip are we?
Minute and a half.
That's not bad. Alright, guys. So, sorry that this is such a short video. Please have your headphones on. You might have still caught something that we didn't catch. The biggest thing that we caught, I guess, was the footsteps. That sounded like they were walking up to the front door of the church. And there was nobody outside the church when we looked. So, unfortunately, we can't really investigate this graveyard due to the fact that you got a major highway right in front of it. And
We got dogs barking over there, the traffic, it would corrupt everything.
yeah, just too much going on right next to this little graveyard at once. So, but still, I hope you guys have your headphones in. If you heard anything that we didn't hear, or if you want to dispute what we think we heard from the necrophonic, feel free to. Time stamp it so we can go back and listen to it and see if maybe we hear the same thing that you did, because sometimes we might hear something different in the moment than what was actually said. And that's why we ask you guys to always help corroborate with our evidence that we can. That's why we put it out there for you guys unedited. So once again, thank you guys for joining us. Sorry for such a short video, but if you want to see us on any of our other social medias, you can follow us on Facebook, you can follow us on Twitter, you can follow us on Instagram, all at CHP Paranormal Investigations. If you guys want to go ahead and you have a place that you feel that's haunted, you need it to be investigated, or a family or a friend that has a place that's haunted, and you want to investigate it, we don't charge. You can reach out to us via email at chp.paranormal.16@gmail.com. That's chp.paranormal.16@gmail.com. And we don't charge. And if you guys know that your place is haunted, you guys want somebody to come out and do a cleansing, we don't charge for that either. We do not charge to help anybody that we come out to help, so that we're going to help. That's just what we do, because that's who we are. We thank you guys for continuing to watch us and support us. Keep sharing, keep hitting them, smash that like button, and go ahead and if you haven't subscribed to us, subscribe to us. There's more to come. We got more things that are going to happen. Unfortunately, this is what happens at some investigations. Some investigations you're going to get a lot of activity, and some investigations are going to end up like this right here, where we didn't get much, but we still came out and put a video out for you guys to enjoy and see how real paranormal investigators investigate the paranormal. So thank you guys again from the bottom of my heart, and until next time, I'll see you at the next haunt.